Hello everyone, and welcome to Vinyāsa Yoga 60. My name is Jackie, and I'm going to be your instructor today. So if you are joining me from home or wherever you're at, some things you're going to want for your practice today are some clothes that you can move in. If you have a mat or a towel, or maybe you're on a rug or carpet, that is perfect. Somewhere you can practice where if we're laying down or our knees are on the ground, your joints are protected. And then you have the option, if you'd like, to grab a blanket or something like that to use for support under your joints as needed. And then if you have anything that you can use as a block, like you'll see right here, you can use a hardcover book or any type of blocked material. That'll help us through some poses today as we work through our practice, so that way you have some support and some guidance when we get into some of those trickier poses. So without further ado, feel free to take some time and grab those things, but we'll begin our practice. You'll see I'm sitting on my block right now, and if you have a pillow or a blanket or a block that you want to sit on, you're welcome to join me there. If not, sitting on the ground is perfectly fine. We are going to start in a seated easy pose with our legs crossed at our shins, sitting up nice and tall. And we'll start our centering, just working on arriving to our practice today, centering our mind and preparing to dedicate this next hour just to ourselves and our bodies. So if you would like to, feel free to close your eyes right here. We're going to rest with our elbows right underneath our shoulders and then our hands falling wherever they might be. Palms can be face down or face up, and just starting to close our eyes here and breathing in and out through our nose. So using this time to become aware of our breath and aware of the speed of our breathing. If you're noticing that you're breathing rather quickly right now, taking this time to slow our breathing down just a little bit. This is a great time to set an intention for your practice. So if you came into practice today with something in mind and an intention that you want to focus on, start centering yourself towards that intention. But if you would like to borrow an intention or want to use my recommendation for class, our intention is going to be grounding and working on finding some groundedness in this practice literally, but also maybe you need that groundedness in your life outside of the practice. So using that intention to take you not only from this practice, but outwards as well. So continuing here to breathe in and out through our nose, slowing down our breathing, hopefully finding some deeper breathing, really filling up those lungs all the way. Maybe even holding at the top for just a moment before we slowly exhale that air back out. Taking whatever worries that maybe were going on today and just letting them float out the door, releasing any judgment that you came into practice with. Starting fresh. We're going to move into our Durga Pranayama, and if you've been attending class these last few weeks, this is our 3-part breath. So if it's new to you, that's okay. We're going to work through it as if no one has gone through it yet. And so what I'd like you to do is place a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly. And we're first going to start by filling up the air in our lungs right in this belly area. So we'll feel our belly inflate, and as we continue to inhale, we'll feel our chest start to fill up with air. And finally up towards that clavicle or collarbone, holding at the top for just a moment, and then slowly exhale in reverse order. So that clavicle and collarbone first, followed by the chest, and then lastly the air in the belly. And then we'll repeat that, first filling up the air in the belly, chest, and then clavicle, holding at the top for just a moment and exhaling in reverse order. So starting to do that at your own breathing pace. And what this will help us to do is to focus our mind on our breath. And a huge part of Vinyāsa Yoga, and really what that translates to, is breath matched to movement. So you'll notice today in class, I'll be referencing either an inhale or an exhale with a lot of our movements. And so I encourage you to use that breathing cue and associate it with the movement that we are pursuing at the time. Taking a few more breaths here with our Durga Pranayama, that 3-part breath. Really filling that air up with those lungs up with air every single time before we exhale. When you feel ready, start to lower those hands back to our legs. And we're going to begin to bring some movement into our body. So here we'll find a seated side stretch. So if you're sitting on the ground, what I'd like you to do is place this hand right here onto the ground. We're going to inhale our opposite arm up and over, finding a nice stretch through these side oblique muscles. Maybe gaze looks down, maybe it looks up towards that arm reaching over, but finding some movement, a nice little stretch here. Taking one more inhale, big stretch up, and when you're ready, exhale, release that arm down. We'll do the other side here, so grounding that hand, inhale, reach that opposite hand up and over. Trying to expand through the chest here, so open that chest up instead of rounding the back out. Shoulders down and back. Taking another deep breath here, reach nice and long on that inhale, and as we exhale, slowly meeting back to center. Let's take a seated spinal twist. So what we're going to do here is let's inhale those arms up nice and high. As we exhale, we're going to take one arm to the opposite knee, twist in that direction. So if your right arm is on your left knee, you are twisting towards the left. And you'll look over that shoulder, maybe finding a deeper twist, inhaling, lengthening that spine, exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Take one more big inhale here. And as we exhale, slowly untwist. Let's do the other side now. Both arms inhale nice and tall. As we exhale, we find that spinal twist, using that hand on the knee to help guide the twist. Our opposite hand is behind us with some additional guidance. Looking over that shoulder. Inhale, lengthen that spine. Exhale, twist just a little bit deeper. Starting to feel how our body is feeling right now. So maybe you feel tight. Do a quick body scan. If you've been sitting all day like me, maybe you feel tight. But we'll do another body scan at the end of class, and I encourage you to hopefully use this practice to feel a little bit better. Let's inhale here, exhale, untwist. Beautiful. From here, we are going to find our tabletop position. So if you're sitting on the ground, you want to roll over your shins, you can, and if not, we'll swing those legs around. From here, I'm actually going to face the side so that you can see me. And with this tabletop position, we want to make sure that we're in alignment. So our shoulders are directly over our wrists and our hips are right over our knees. From here, let's take a few cat-cow poses. So we're going to inhale, lowering that belly to the ground. Head looks maybe out in front of us, or gaze looks slightly upward. And as we exhale, we're going to round the spine out, separating the shoulder blades. Chin goes to our chest. Inhaling to cow, press that belly down towards the mat or the ground. And exhale, cat pose, separate those shoulder blades around the spine. Taking a few more of these at your own pace here. Inhaling cow, exhaling cat, starting to match that breath with the movement. Let's take one more of each, and then we'll meet at a neutral spine. Once we're at that neutral spine, we're going to take some spinal balance poses. So this will help warm our core up just a bit. What we're going to do is you're going to take one hand, choose whichever hand you'd like. You're going to reach it out as if you're shaking someone's hand. And then your opposite foot, we have some options here. We can either kickstand that foot, keeping the toe on the ground, or we can lift that foot into the air. So opposite arm and opposite leg are lifted to the air. Thinking about the weight distribution in our hand and our knee that are grounded. So we want an equal distribution here. That's going to help balance out our hips. We want a nice flat line here. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Let's slowly lower down. We'll try the other side here. So choosing that opposite arm this time, reaching it out as if you're shaking someone's hand. Opposite leg, choose the same placement. So if you left your foot on the ground the first time, you'll want to do so the second time. If you lifted, you'll lift. Keeping that foot flexed either way. Find that weight distribution. We're We're breathing in and out, keeping that head in neutral alignment with the spine, so looking down towards our mat. For 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bring hand and knee to mat. All right, from here, we're gonna do this one more time with the option to make it a little more difficult for us. So take that initial arm and leg. We can extend out however we had. If you'd like to stay as you are, if this is challenging enough and really waking your core up, stay here. You have the option though to extend the arm to the side and extend the leg to the side. So this is gonna bring some challenge here. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Waking up that core here. Let's do the other side. So first extending. Find your balance. Find that equal weight distribution. And when you're ready, we can start to extend both arm and leg to the side. Breathe here. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Lower down. We're going to find a child's pose here. So let's sit back on those heels. Knees can be either closer together or farther apart right now. Our forehead's going to rest on the mat. Arms can reach towards the front of our mat. Right here, taking a moment to breathe, recenter. This is a great recovery pose. So as we're working through our flows today, if there's ever a moment where you want to just take a moment and reset, this is a great pose to come back to. And from here, we can find some organic movement. So if it feels good to shift into one hip, I encourage you to do so. That might feel good after we were doing those spinal balances. And then shifting towards the other side. Very nice. From here, let's work our way through tabletop into our first downward dog of the day. So tucking those toes behind us, we're going to lift the hips up towards the sky. And right here, finding some balance between our lower body and upper body. So those feet and hands, not putting all the weight into our upper body or all the weight into our lower body. I encourage you, this first downward dog, to bend the knees. You'll feel, hopefully it'll be a little easier to flatten your spine. We want to make sure that we keep some integrity in our spine, keeping it as flat as possible with these downward dogs. So if every downward dog you need to have your knees bent, that is totally fine. We're going to start to walk the dog here. So bending one knee, straightening the other, and you'll feel a stretch in your calf. So the back half, the bottom of our legs. Bending one knee and then the other. Taking one more breath here. On that next inhale, we'll bend those knees, look between the hands, and slowly tiptoe our feet to meet the hands. Forward fold. Right here, our feet can be close together, maybe big toes are touching. We'll let that upper body hang over our hips. Maybe sway side to side. With our working flow today, we're going to be going into Surya Namaskar B towards the middle and end of our class. We're going to want to open up those hamstrings. So right here, let's start to do so. And we're going to go ahead and bend one knee. So I'll bend the one closest to you all to start. You can choose whatever you'd like. Bending one knee, you're immediately going to feel that hamstring on the straight leg start to stretch. And so what we want to do here is we're going to find a twist. My hand that is opposite of the bent knee is going to be reaching towards the ground. Maybe it's on my shin, maybe it's on a block or a prop. And I'm going to twist towards the bent knee. So finding a twist here, see how my arm is lifted. Maybe yours is on your hip or somewhere that's more comfortable for you. But you're going to feel a increased stretch on that hamstring of the straight leg. So starting to open up those hamstrings. We'll hold for 3, 2, and 1. Shake those knees out. Let's do the other side. So bending that opposite knee this time, feeling the hamstring stretch of that straight leg, and when you're ready, twisting towards that bent knee. Trying to keep our chest open if we can, trying to keep some straightness to that spine. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Finding that forward fold again. From here, we're going to slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time, slowly making our way to our Tadasana or mountain pose, where we'll start to further warm up our body. Grab some water if you need it. Mountain pose, we're going to be big toes touching, feet are close together. We're standing up nice and tall, shoulders down and back, and our palms are facing outward. I'm going to continue to face the side so you can see what I'm doing, but meet me in mountain pose when you're ready. Okay. So from here, we're going to move through our Surya Namaskar A or Sun A 3 times. I'm going to walk us through it pretty slowly the first time. The second 2 times, we're really going to work on matching our breath to movement. So if you're comfortable with Surya Namaskar A and want to do it at your own pace, please do. From here, we're going to start with a big inhale, reaching our arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. As we exhale, we're going to slowly swan dive, back stays flat until we're about halfway there. Then we slowly let that upper body fold over, Uttanasana, forward fold. Let's inhale to a half lift. So hands can come to shins or maybe your thighs, finding a flat back right here, heads in neutral alignment. As we exhale, we're going to place those hands to the mat, bending the knees. We'll step those feet back to a high plank. And right away, if you'd like to, we can take those knees to the mat. First time through, we want to work a little easy on our body. So keeping those knees on the mat, we'll inhale, shifting our weight forward just a bit. And as we exhale, chaturanga. So we keep those elbows close to our side, slowly, slowly, slowly lower as we exhale down. We're going to find baby cobra here. So slowly lifting that chest and only the chest off the mat right here. Nice little lift. As we exhale, we can rest a cheek on the mat. Let's do that one more time. Lift baby cobra. Exhale, lift and rest the other cheek to the mat. Here we're going to find full cobra or up dog. So lifting ourselves up, cobra right here, up dog if we lift those thighs off the mat. And then as we exhale, downward facing dog. So right here, we already know our downward dog. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. Remember, keeping that bend in the knees if it's helpful for you. I really encourage you through your yoga practice to meet your body where it's at. So maybe your calves are tight, maybe your hamstrings are tight. Finding that bend in the knees is going to be very helpful for you. Don't push your body into something it's not ready for. On that next inhale, let's look between the hands and slowly tiptoe the feet to meet the hands, forward fold. On the next inhale, we're going to half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive up. Urdhva Hastasana, reach those arms up over high. And then exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. We're going to do that 2 more times like I mentioned, this time working a little bit quicker, matching breath to movement. So inhale, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to mat, step back to plank. Remember, you can lower those knees if you'd like, option to keep them lifted this time. Inhale, let's shift that weight forward. And as we exhale, lower down chaturanga. Inhaling cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. On that 4th inhale, looking between the hands, either tiptoeing or maybe hopping those feet to meet the hands this time. Let's inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, Tadasana or mountain pose. All right, one more time here. When you're ready, inhaling, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank. And inhale, shift that weight forward. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Once we meet in that plank to chaturanga, to cobra or up dog, and then downward dog. You may hear me reference that as a vinyasa, that whole movement. So if you hear me say take your vinyasa or optional vinyasa, that is what I'm referring to. On that next inhale, let's look between the hands. Walk or hop the feet to meet the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms overhead, root to rise. And exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. All right, so take a scan of your body. Maybe close the eyes if it's comfortable. Think about how your body's feeling right now. Hopefully, it's a little bit warmer than when we started class, and we're ready for some additional movement. Take some water if you'd like it, and I'll meet you in mountain pose at the top of your mat. We're gonna work into Surya Namaskar B, which is gonna be our main sequence for today. So bringing further warmth into the body, finding our peak poses, our peak balance poses. If you have that block or something to help with your practice today, you'll want it near you. All right. So we're gonna start with Surya Namaskar B. We'll go through it a few times, each time building onto this sequence. So starting in Tadasana, mountain pose here, taking a deep inhale, just inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. On your next inhale, we're gonna find chair pose. So working into chair pose slowly, we'll sit those hips back, weight comes into the heels. So my chest is lifted, my back is straight, and my weight's in those heels. I can wiggle the toes if I'd like to. Hands can either be at our hips, they can be here at heart center, or they can be lifted overhead. And if lifting overhead is a little bit tight for your shoulders and maybe opening wider is helpful, do so. But holding into this chair pose for 3, 2, inhaling here and exhaling forward fold. Great job. Inhale, halfway lift right here. And exhale, we're gonna place those hands down, taking a vinyasa. So remember, we step back into plank, shift that weight forward on the inhale. Exhale, we lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take a breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. When you're ready, lifting that right leg high, 3-legged dog here. So foot is flexed. We find balance in our hips. Keep both hands on the ground, but you'll want to find a nice flat line through those hips. We don't want to open them up too wide. Inhaling here. On that exhale, let's take that knee, drive it between the hands, and place that foot between the hands. We're going to rise to a crescent lunge. So option to put the arms overhead, or you can keep them at heart center. But notice that my back foot, the heel is lifted. So front foot, both toes point forward. Front foot, my knee is bent. Back foot, heel is lifted. We'll inhale, lift tall here. As we exhale, using that core, folding forward, nice flat back. My lower body has not changed at all. I am just hinging at the hips. Next inhale, lift up nice and high and reach. Next exhale, lower. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, lift high. And exhale, flatten that back. Good. When you're ready, place both hands on the mat, step the front foot back, plank pose, take a vinyasa. Always have that option to lower to our knees and take our vinyasa that way. Finding yourself in downward dog, I'll meet you there. When you're ready, we're gonna lift the left leg high. Same thing, find that balance. Take a moment here to find that proper 3-legged dog. If you feel your hip hiking up, lower it down. I know I always have to check myself. When you're ready, taking that knee, bringing it through, placing the foot between the hands, and rising crescent lunge. Awesome job. From here, check that alignment. Back heel is lifted, front knee is bent. We inhale, lift high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift high. And exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, fold. When you're ready, take those hands, place them on the mat. Optional vinyasa. Leaning forward. lowering down. If you ever choose to skip this part, maybe it's not for you, maybe your body's getting a little bit fatigued and you need to save that energy, meet me in downward facing dog. Next, inhale, looking between the hands, walking or hopping the feet to meet the hands, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold. On this next inhale, we'll find chair pose. Sit back in the heels. Inhale, lift those arms. Exhale, mountain pose. Awesome. That was our first time through. Grab water if you need it. Meet me in mountain pose. Adding on here. We are in mountain pose. We lift and inhale to chair. So sit back in those heels. Arms can come up high if it's comfortable. Inhale and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, taking that vinyasa, hands to the mat. Inhaling cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. This time, let's lift the left leg first. So we'll lift that left leg high, foot is flexed. Inhale, and as we exhale, we'll place that foot between the hands. Once we feel grounded in those feet, we inhale, lift, crescent lunge. Good, so find that alignment. Inhale, lift, and exhale, fold. Using that core. Inhale, lift, and exhale, fold. We'll do this just one more lift here. Inhale, lift, and as you exhale, we're gonna find warrior one. So back heel is gonna find the ground. We have our foot at about a 45-degree angle. Those hips are still shifted forward. So I'm actively thinking about pulling this left foot, which is in front, this left hip backwards, the right hip forward so I can center them. Hands can be on our hips if that's helpful. They can be at heart center or they can be lifted. Take a breath here. Good. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, we're going to unfold warrior two. So you'll notice my back is to you, but that is okay. I can explain. So our back foot here is now going to be pointed more towards a 90-degree angle. What I want you to do is shift that front foot. So tiptoe it so that your front heel is now aligned with your back, either big toe or the ball of your toe. Our arms reach out both directions and we find a nice deep bend in that front foot or that front leg. Very nice job. Taking an inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to cartwheel those hands down to the mat, framing the foot, stepping that foot back to high plank and taking our vinyasa. Meet me in downward facing dog. Remember, we're matching breath to movement here. Taking a breath here, downward facing dog. When you're ready, let's lift that right leg high. Inhale, and then as we exhale, we bring that leg through, plant the foot, make sure you're feeling grounded with those feet. And when you're ready, we lift to crescent lunge. Inhale, tall. And exhale, fold. We inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. One more lift. Inhale here. And as you exhale, you'll find warrior one. So placing that heel down, 45-degree angle. One thing I didn't mention on the other side was we want a heel to heel alignment. So our front heel should be aligned with our back heel. So make sure you check that. You may need to wiggle that back foot towards the front a little to find your alignment. Hips, we want to center them towards the front and find your arm placement of choice. Take a breath here. Inhale, lift those arms. Exhale, we bring ourselves into warrior two. Shift that front foot over. Heel to big toe or ball of our foot align. Awesome. Even though our hips are more externally rotated now, we still want to actively be thinking, pulling that right hip back, bringing that left hip forward. Arms reach out and we look over the fingertips of that front arm. Find that generous bend in our front knee. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. One more big inhale. As we exhale, we cartwheel those arms down to the mat. Inhale, stepping back to our plank, shifting forward. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Very nice job. Keeping a bend in those knees. We look between the hands, and then we either walk or hop the feet to meet the hands, forward fold. On your next inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We inhale, chair pose. Sit back in those heels. And exhale, mountain. Very nice job. This next time through, we're going to add on even more. We'll do both sides, and we'll find our balance pose here. So our balance pose is going to be our peak pose, which will be warrior 3. Keep that in mind. You will want that prop present this time around. All right, big toes touching, mountain pose. Maybe re-ground yourself. One way to help ground yourself with yoga is spread those toes apart, ground them into your mat or the ground or wherever you are. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale. Inhale, lifting to chair, arms come up, we sit back in those heels. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, we take our vinyasa here. Meeting in downward facing dog. This time through again, we'll lift that right leg high. 3-legged dog. Inhale here, and as we exhale, take that foot between the hands. Lift for crescent lunge. Inhale, tall. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. And we exhale, warrior 1. Place that heel down, heel to heel alignment. Check yourself if you need to. Inhale here. Exhale, warrior 2, opening up. Finding that generous bend in the front knee. Taking a deep breath here, shoulders down and back. From here, we're inhaling into reverse warrior. So if you know how to get there, go for it. If not, back hand's gonna be on this back thigh. We'll inhale, reaching that arm up towards the sky. So we find a bit of a bend in our spine. We look up towards the sky, chest is open. Option to take this back hand and bind it behind our backs. Couple more deep breaths. Don't forget about that bend in your front knee. Taking an inhale here. As we exhale, we fold into a extended side angle. So this front arm that was reaching towards the sky can come onto my front thigh. My back arm is going to do almost what the front arm was doing and reach up towards the sky. This is where that prop can come in handy. You have the option to take that front arm and place it down either on the mat if it fits or onto your prop. So ideally we look something like this. My hips are still driving towards the front of my mat. My body though is twisting open towards the ceiling. Very active pose. Inhale here and exhale. On your next inhale, finding warrior 1. So use that core to lift out of this pose. We'll center our hips. Reset yourself. Might not be as graceful as you'd like. That's okay. Finding warrior 1. So from warrior 1, we're taking this into our balance pose, warrior 3. Again, if you know how to get to warrior 3, I encourage you to go right into it. I'm going to guide us slowly though. So you'll want your prop near you. I'm putting my block about a foot in front of me. I'm going to take this back foot, tiptoe it towards the front. So now I have a lot more weight on this front leg. From here, I have some options. I'm going to either find my pose here, so my back leg stays as the kickstand. I don't lift it, but I'm just finding some balance here, maybe feeling that sensation in my hamstring of the right foot, or maybe I lift that back foot off the ground, finding some centering in my hips if I can. Back foot is flexed. If you feel like you can separate from your prop, you can let go. Hands can either stay at heart center or they can extend out in front. So choose what works for you today. I encourage you to think about your hips though. So do your hips feel like they're in alignment? Do you feel like you're opening up super wide? And if so, adjusting. Holding for 3, 2. When you're ready, slowly find warrior 1. Taking a breath here. Inhale through the nose. As we exhale, we lower down to the mat. Frame that foot and take our vinyasa. So choosing what works for us right here and now. Meeting in downward dog. This is when we're really bringing that heat to the body, using our muscles actively. So if we need to find that child's pose at any point, please do. All right, next side. Maybe your body feels a little weird. That right side feels different than the left. That's okay. When you're ready, let's inhale left leg high. As we exhale, we bring that leg through, placing it between our hands, finding crescent lunge. Very nice. Heel is lifted. We inhale, arms tall. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift those arms tall. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the arms high, and as we exhale, we plant that heel, warrior 1. Taking a breath here. Inhale, those arms tall. Exhale, we unfold warrior 2. Shift that front foot if you need to. Heel to big toe. Generous bend in the knee. On your next inhale, finding reverse warrior. So remember, back arm can come down to the thigh. Front arm reaches up towards the sky. Option to bind that back arm behind you. Opening that chest. Gaze looks up. Let's take an inhale here. As we exhale, reaching into our extended side angle. So front leg is bent, front forearm on our thigh, and we reach that back arm up overhead. So if you chose to use your block or you chose to place that hand on the mat for this, on one side, do it for the other. Good, reaching tall, very active pose here. Front knee is bent. On your next inhale, finding warrior 1. So use that core, slowly lift, recenter, maybe adjust that back foot or front foot, warrior 1. From here, preparing to move to warrior 3. So starting to grab that prop if you need it, walk that back foot in, weights in our front leg, so now it should be our left leg, and choose that option. Remember your options here, kickstand right here, my back is flat, my hips are leveled, keep my foot on the ground. Option 2, take that to the next step, maybe lift that foot, even if it's just a little bit. And then option 3 is lifting those arms. So choosing what works for you. Again, I would recommend if you did one thing on one side, do the same on the other. Even yourself out. We're feeling that stretch in our hamstrings. Very active since that leg is the one that's working right now. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Step that leg back, warrior 1. Nice work. Taking an inhale here. As we exhale, let's lower those hands. Vinyasa. So stepping that back leg or front leg back, shift the weight forward, Lower to the ground, exhale. We inhale, lift cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Very nice job. From here, bending those knees, we look between the hands, walk or hop the feet to meet the hands, forward fold. Let's inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana, sit back in those heels, and exhale, standing to mountain. Very nice job. Taking a moment, maybe regrounding yourself on that mat, taking a few deep breaths, grabbing water if you need it. We've got a little less than 20 minutes left of class. So we're going to start to work our way down to our cool down and final relaxation. By no means does that mean we're done working or done flowing through, but we're getting there. So finding ourselves in mountain pose. Let's inhale those arms up high, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Holding here, finding that ragdoll pose. So maybe letting the arms hang, maybe grabbing both elbows and rocking side to side. Whatever feels comfortable for you right now. We're going to use this time to find some deeper stretches. So let's bend the knees, place the hands to the mat, and walk back into our downward facing dog. Once we're here, we are going to lift our right leg high, three-legged dog. This time, feel free to open that hip. Stretch it out just a little bit. You should feel that stretch all the way through your side. Maybe take a few circles on the ceiling or rotate your ankle. Centering that three-legged dog again. We're going to bring our knee into just like we would for our lunge. So bring the foot between the hands, and right away, if you'd like to, we can lower that knee to the ground. So from here, we're going to work into lizard pose. So what we'll do is we'll heel toe our foot towards the edge of our mat, right foot to the right edge. So now both of my arms are on the inside of my right foot. From here, if this is your lizard pose today, that is awesome. If this feels like a good sensation in your hips and a good stretch, stay there. I encourage you to. You should feel a stretch right here in our hip. We should feel this in our back hip flexor, okay? If we want to make this a little bit deeper, this is where, if you can, you could lower your forearms to the ground, or maybe you have that prop next to you and you can lower your forearms to the prop. So again, we're finding a nice deep stretch in our hips right here. We want to try to keep some integrity in that spine, keeping a nice flat spine if we can. And what you'll focus on, try not to wing that knee out to the side. We're going to focus on bringing that knee in towards our right arm and the vice versa. So they kind of press into each other. If you are a little more flexible and need more of a challenge to find some stretching sensation, you can always lift that knee off the mat, and same thing, either choose to find your elbows, a prop, or stay lifted on our hands. Taking one more breath here. When you're ready, we're going to find pigeon pose on this same leg. So another deep stretch in our hips, but in another more of our external area of our hips. So what we'll do is we'll heel toe this front foot to the other side of our mat towards our left hand. And now what I'm going to do is rest my shin onto the mat. So the idea or the goal, maybe long term, is to have your shin parallel with the front of your mat. But if you are not there, I am not there today, we will go ahead and rest it wherever it lands. Option to put that block or prop under our hip. So you notice I just put that under my hip as some support. I encourage you to do so with a blanket or a pillow or whatever prop you have that might be helpful. And then just check behind, making sure that back leg is straight. From there, just like in lizard, If this is enough sensation for you, you should feel some sensation in that outer hip of our right leg. Stay here. If we want to add a little bit of a deeper stretch, we come down to our forearms and maybe even rest that head on the mat. Taking nice deep breaths in and out. So we're now starting to find some deeper stretches. Slow that breathing down. Slow our heart rate down. With these deep stretches, I encourage you to try to sink a little deeper into the stretch on each exhale. So we inhale, and as we exhale, we sink into that stretch a little bit deeper. Taking one more breath here. On that next inhale, go ahead and slowly lift if you were in your sleeping pigeon. If you had a block you were using, remove that block. And we're going to find our way back into downward facing dog. So again, tuck that back toe under. When you're ready, we'll lift into three-legged dog for just a moment and then lower. Other side, now lifting that left leg high. Three-legged dog. We can open the hip this time. Maybe take a couple circles on the ceiling with our knee or roll that ankle out. Recentering when you're ready and bringing that leg through. First, finding the foot in that lunged position, framing the foot. If you took that knee to the ground before, do so this time. And then we're going to heel toe our foot to the edge of the mat. Now both of our hands are on the inside of that left foot, finding whatever version of lizard that we would like to. So maybe that's lifting your toe or lifting your knee off the ground. Maybe that is using your prop or block to break your forearms to, or maybe taking your forearms to the mat. And again, thinking about pressing that knee into our left arm and left arm into our knee. Feeling that stretch in our hips and breathing. Couple more breaths here. When you are ready, beginning to make your way into pigeon pose. So here we can heel toe that foot to the other side of the mat. We sit onto that left hip almost. Remember, aligning that shin if we can, grabbing our prop if we need to under that hip. First, finding alignment, making sure that foot is straight behind us or that leg is straight. And when you're ready, finding ourselves in our sleeping pigeon if that's comfortable, or whatever variation you're choosing that is going to meet your needs today. Nice deep breaths, again sinking into that stretch deeper and deeper with every exhale. Few more breaths here. If you are on your forearms, slowly starting to lift onto the palms. And wherever you are meeting me here, if you use that block, removing it from under you. And from here, we are going to sit onto that left hip and swing our legs around. So from here, we're gonna slowly lower to the mat onto our backs. We have a couple more things here. We're gonna find bridge pose next. So when you're ready, we're gonna use our core and slowly lower down. So if you'd like your hands on the back of your thighs, you can, or they can be out in front, but we're gonna lower for 5 seconds, starting here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Head should be the last thing to touch the mat. From here, let's find bridge pose. So what we'll do is we'll place our feet onto the mat or wherever we are. Same with our hands. We walk those heels towards our glutes. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a nice big inhale and we're gonna lift those hips into the air, grounding through those feet. We'll hold and then we'll rest. You have the option, if you'd like to make this a little more challenging, to raise onto one leg, okay? And we'll make sure we even those sides out. So when you're ready, let's take a nice big inhale here. As we inhale, we lift the hips, bridge pose. So here we want to be actively using our hamstring muscles, our glute muscles, and our back muscles, but not necessarily squeezing them as tight as we can. We can feel them activated, but we're not actively squeezing them. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower down. Good. If you were using one leg, switching to the other, we'll lift in 3, 2, and inhale, lift. Taking steady breaths here. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's go ahead and take those knees into our chest. Give them a hug. Rock side to side. Massage that lower back out. Last couple things, we'll find our supine twist here. So bringing ourselves down closer to that final relaxation. We're going to keep this right leg hugged in. The left legs will extend out. From here, what we'll do is we'll find a twist. So we're going to take this right leg, bring it to the left side of our body. Nice little 90-degree angle in that front knee, or that right knee. And our arms can tee out to the sides. From here, we make sure that both shoulders are grounded, they're not lifted, and we can look towards our right arm. As we near our final relaxation, letting our bodies cool down. If it's comfortable, you can close your eyes through these last few stretches and poses. On your next inhale, slowly untwisting, giving that right leg one more hug. And when you're ready, you can swap legs. So the left leg will hug in this time. And again, when you're ready, we can twist. So the left leg is going to twist over to the right side. Our arms will tee out. Remember, those shoulders are grounded. And we look towards the left hand. Again, closing the eyes if it's comfortable. Starting to feel that breathing slow down. Heart rate slows down. When you're ready, untwisting, give that left leg one more hug, and then extend that leg out. At this time, if it's good for you, we can find Happy Baby, or you can start to lay into your final relaxation. With Happy Baby, we reach towards the outsides of our feet, soles of our feet are up towards the ceiling or the sky. Finding this last stretch of the day through our hips, maybe rocking side to side to massage our backs one more time. And when you're ready, bringing those legs down, out straight in front of us, finding our final relaxation pose. So our feet can be splayed out however they feel comfortable. Our palms are faced up towards the ceiling or sky. Our eyes are closed. And let's do a quick body scan here. So thinking about our body head to toe. How do we feel right now? Hopefully our body feels a little more relaxed, a little more at ease. Thinking about maybe how your mind feels. Hopefully it feels the same. And taking these last few moments of our practice to, again, just cleanse our mind, let those outside thoughts wander off. If a thought lingers in, just letting it pass just as easily. Continuing to breathe in and out through our nose. Starting to bring some awareness back to our bodies. Laying down still in your supine pose, maybe starting to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, maybe rolling your wrists and ankles. And right here it might feel good to take a good morning stretch. So if you're laying on your back, reaching your arms all the way up to the sky, pointing your toes in the other direction, finding that nice long stretch, and then slowly turning onto your favorite side, whatever side that might be. From there, with as minimal effort as possible, just slowly starting to press your way up into a seated pose, where we'll close our practice today. So finding your way to that seated pose where you'll see me, you can join me here. And let's just take a moment, palms facing upwards towards the sky. We're crossed at our shins, sitting up nice and tall, just like we started practice. Maybe closing your eyes if it feels comfortable. And again, doing one more body scan, one more mind scan, really reflecting on how this practice made you feel. Hopefully, like I said, you are feeling better than when you did coming into practice today. Reflecting back to that intention of being grounded and hopefully feeling a little more grounded, either physically with yourself or in your life. from here, let's take one deep breath by reaching our arms up towards the sky. Inhale here. Palms can touch, bringing those hands down to heart center. We'll end our practice here, and I will just let you know that the light in me honors and respects the light in each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. We'll bow our heads to seal our practice, and namaste. So thank you all for being here today. Again, my name is Jackie. This was Vinyāsa Yoga. I will teach this class every Monday for Summer B, so if you're around, I hope to see you next week. One more thing before you leave class today, in the description, you will see a survey link. If you wouldn't mind clicking that survey link and filling out the survey for us, that just lets us know your satisfaction with class today, your satisfaction with me as your instructor, and it gives you the opportunity to provide some written feedback if you want to let us know how you're feeling about this virtual schedule, these virtual YouTube classes. We would love to hear from you, whether you loved it, whether you hated it, or whether you have suggestions for future semesters. So that being said, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next week.